Hi, welcome to JINSA Snapshot. I'm Michael Makovsky. I'm the President and CEO of JINSA. It is Friday morning, September 12th. I'm joined, as usual, by my esteemed colleague, John Hannah, the Randi and Charles Wax Senior Fellow here at JINSA. John, great to see you.
Hey, Mike. Good to be with you.
It's been a kind of a mixed week. I think the news, obviously, that is taking over the United States, obviously September 11th. Yesterday was the anniversary of September 11th, 24th anniversary. And the country's really been dealing with, I think, the Charlie Kirk assassination. As of this morning, it looks like they might, they have a suspect captured who they think might have done it. But I'll just note, I mean, I didn't watch him. I didn't follow him. He was in apparently everything I read and watched had been he was a great American. He was also a great friend of Israel, and really touched many people's lives and seemed like a great guy, period. And I'll just add, just on the Israeli side, that kind of surprised me. I was talking to a colleague in Israel this morning and told me it really seems to have resonated with many Israelis, this assassination. There's some billboards apparently in Israel of Charlie Kirk, and he sent me a picture, one of Trump and Kirk embracing. Behind them are his American and Israeli flag. Actually, President Trump happened to tweet that or put that on that poster on True Social today also. But that seems to have been, obviously, that seems to have drowned out what we're going to, excuse me, we'll talk about, which is Doha. But I don't know if you want to just first address what I just said, John.
No, I mean, just a horrible event. Again, whether you agree or disagree with Charlie Kirk, just an awful event, bad foreboding for our politics. I kind of had, after I heard about that, had a similar feeling that I had at 24 years ago when I was in the White House trying to evacuate my staff out of the White House on 9/11. So just a very, very sad day. And you just hope that it jolts people into realizing we're all in this together, despite our political disagreements, and need to figure out a way to move forward as a country, because God knows, as the events this week in the Middle East showed us, there's a unstable and potentially very dangerous world out there.
Yeah. Well, as I said in our webinar yesterday with Elliot Abrams, on behalf of JINSA, I want to extend our condolences, deep condolences to Charlie Kirk's family, his wife, his two kids, and his extended family over this very awful loss, and a guy at only 31 years old. Let's move on to the Middle East, but it also deals with terrorism and the news, that was taken. The big news the week before the Charlie Kirk assassination was really in Qatar and Doha, where Israel attempted to kill some Hamas leaders. It is unclear at this date how many leaders have been killed, who has been killed and who not. Unclear if there are initial reports suggesting it wasn't fully successful, whether they were tipped off and managed to leave right at the last minute or not. But I think the question was, just like Israel killed everyone involved in those that killed the Israeli team at the 1972 Olympics in Munich, and they killed some of these folks in Europe, in European territory. I don't think it was a question of whether Israel was going to do something like this. It was only a question of where and when.
Yeah, I think that's right, Mike. I mean, again, if they didn't get all these guys, it's too bad. But at some point in time, it's going to get done. Of that, I have no doubt. I've got lots of interesting questions. The notion that seems to be the current conventional wisdom, that the United States was not aware of this operation, that there was no pre-coordination for Israel to fly a bunch of F-15s loaded up with munitions toward a country where there's a major American air base, and to fire those munitions at downtown Doha within a couple of miles of that air base without the U.S. military actually knowing what was happening, just pretty astonishing to me. And it does seem, kind of risky. The other thing I'd say that's kind of gone unnoticed because it didn't succeed, but if in fact the U.S. didn't know about this and Trump's first reaction upon finding out was to get Steve Witkoff on the phone with the Qatari prime minister to warn Hamas to get out so they would actually be saved. Apparently Witkoff did that and didn't do it in time because the munitions were already striking their targets. But even that's, interesting that the U.S. would have become aware at the last minute of a strike on a Hamas terrorist and leadership and try to warn the Qataris off of it.
Yeah, we don't know yet, but it does seem to defy logic that there was no communication between Israel and the United States about this until the last moment. It seems hard to believe, doesn't it?
But that's their story for right now, and they're sticking to it. Maybe it's convenient for the president to be able to stand back from this and tell the Qataris that he was trying to protect their interests. But if in fact it's the case, I think it surprised a lot of people because I think everybody was confident at the beginning that this has to be coordinated with the United States and with the U.S. green light. So we'll just have the other thing I'm watching on this, Mike, that I just might quickly mention is, the reaction of particularly our best friends in the Gulf to this, the UAE, the Saudis. They've certainly been making a lot of noise. And the question is, are these just the kind of perfunctory condemnations that they feel they have to make out of solidarity with another GCC state, when really behind the scenes, they would have loved to see these Hamas guys get whacked. And they have a certain bit of Schadenfreude that the guys that got hit were the Qataris, where there at least historically been no love lost between the UAE, the Saudis, and this Muslim Brotherhood loving government in Qatar. So they've got a big meeting this weekend of a combined meeting, the Arab League and the Muslim world, all gathering in Doha. Again, we'll just see whether this is just going to be a passing storm in which people, lots of sound and fury, but really signifying nothing, or whether they're going to try and if this is something more significant in terms of any kind of steps or actions they might try and take to punish Israel.
But, who cares about the Gulf countries when you have so many friends in the world like Spain? So I think, I don't know, there's some weird statements by the Spanish recently, the other day, about Israel that, but look, all these countries are dumping on Israel now. You got the Canadians, you got the French.
No question. And they're all going to be together in person at the United Nations in New York in just, a matter of days, which is, all the more reason why, the United States has to be active, engaged on this, trying to make sure that cooler heads prevail and that we don't these guys don't take a lot of dumb actions that only set us back, as opposed to thinking forward on how we move together in a more positive direction. We'll just have to wait and see.
If I were the Turks, I'd think about this. It's interesting because they also have been hosting Hamas leaders. Some apparently have directed attacks from Turkey. There's reports in the West Bank and so on from Turkey. Of course, Turkey's a lot more powerful a country than Qatar militarily, but it's just something to follow. And then lastly, I guess we'll just say is we'll have to follow. We don't know yet what the impact, if any, will be from this attack on the hostage negotiations and the ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas. I assume the Israelis must have thought the current trajectory was pretty poor. So maybe this could improve things. That's what they've indicated. That's what they see. That also some of these Hamas folks were also particularly close to the Iranians. And maybe whether the talks, although maybe less significantly, there's more of a, whether they move more to Egypt as opposed to Qatar, you would think. I doubt that that's going to make too much a difference, but I think the substance is more interesting to see whether this has any impact on how Hamas is looking at these negotiations, whether they're going to be more serious or whether they're going to continue the current trajectory. As Israel, I think, as of today, seems to occupy over 40% of Gaza City and 75% of the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Of course, occupying parts of Gaza is all a relative term, given all those tunnels underneath the ground. You can be there and Hamas be there. And really clearing out that area and getting rid of Hamas is going to be a tall order. But again, we'll just have to wait and see, Mike.
All right. Well, look, John, I want to wish everybody watching a good weekend, a peaceful weekend.
Great. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.